All right, so how did that go? Well, I hope this was challenging, but at the same time fun. So the problem essentially boils down to how do we selectively capitalize the first letter, but not any of the other letters? So as I said, let's break this problem down. So step one, we need to be able to create a variable that stores the name that the user enters via a prompt. Now, step two, we need to be able to capitalize the first letter of their name. And then step three, we use the capitalized version of their name to greet them using an alert. Okay, so let's try and tackle this one by one. Let's create a var that we can call just name, and we can use it to store the name that they give us via a prompt. So let's delete this line, and let's use our console to verify that we're doing it right every step of the way. So I'm going to put this into the console, and I'm going to paste it in here and hit enter. So now that line of code gets run, and it's asking me for my name. So I'm going to give it my name, but all in lowercase, and I'm going to hit OK. So now if I check inside the console, what is the current value of name, then you can see it's lowercase Angela. Okay, so the next part, which is the most challenging part, how can you capitalize only the first letter of their name? Well, if you look at this problem just by itself, it seems like we can't achieve it using only what we've learned. But we can actually break down this problem. What if part A of this, we actually isolate the first character, and then we turn the first character to uppercase. Step C, we isolate the rest of the name, and finally we concatenate the first character with the rest of the characters. So now this seems a little bit more feasible, right? We've initially tried to break down the problem as we saw fit, but then we realized that one of these steps actually needed to be further broken down. And now we can tackle it. So isolate the first character. We know how to do that. We can say var first char equals name dot slice. And the numbers we're going to put in here are 0 and 1 because we want to take the character beginning at the 0th position up to, but not including, the first position. So that's going to be the first character of the string. So we can again verify this by copying it and pasting it into our console, hitting enter, and let's just check to see what first char is currently equal to. So it's equal to the lowercase a. Perfect. So the next step, step B, is we want to turn the first character to uppercase. So this is very easy as well. Let's create a var called uppercase first char, and it's now equal to first char, which is the lowercase a at the moment, dot to uppercase. And remember, we need those two empty parentheses at the end. Okay, so let's see if this worked by pasting this into our console. So what is the current value of uppercase first char? It's capitalized A. Brilliant. So now, how do we isolate the rest of the name? Let's create a variable called rest of name. And we will need to use the slice function again. So we're going to take the name that they gave us. We're going to slice the characters so that we get everything other than the first character. Now, how do we do that? Well, the first part is easy. We can start off at position 1. So that excludes the first character, which is at 0. Now, what about the last one? It's pretty easy if we know that the name is Angela, because we can count and we can see this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. So in order to get all the characters after the letter A, all we need to do is to write 6 in here. Now, because we're getting the name through a prompt and we don't know what the user is going to enter, then if we just put in 6, it's not always going to work. It's only going to work if the name has 6 characters. But we've learned something really useful in this case. We know that we can get the number of characters through the property that is length. So we can simply say name.length, and we'll be able to get the length of whatever name it is that the user enters. So we will always be able to get the last position to put into our slice in order to get the rest of the name. So let's paste this into here as well, and let's run it, and let's see what rest of name is equal to. And there we go. It's equal to Angela. Angela. Beautiful name, right? So now, finally, we can add our uppercase first character to the rest of the name in order to get our capitalized name. We can use concatenation for this. We can say uppercase first car plus rest of name is now going to be equal to the name that is capitalized. Paste that in here and let's check it out. There we go. We've now got the capitalized Angela. Pretty cool, right? And now all we have to do is to put the capitalized version into the alert and greet the user by saying hello plus capitalized name. So now let's run our code, and it asks us for our name. So we'll give it Angela, lowercase, hit OK, and it changes our name to capitalized Angela and greets us through an alert. So that might have seemed pretty complicated for achieving something quite simple. And if you look on Stack Overflow or Google, there are simpler ways of doing it. But this exercise is really, really crucial in starting to build an essential skill that programmers have, which is taking a big problem, chunking it down, breaking it into smaller pieces, and whenever you get stuck on those smaller pieces, then trying to break that problem down even further. Now, some of you guys might have realized that we actually need one extra thing to make our code completely foolproof. Because what if the user, instead of just writing, lowercase Angela, which we've addressed, what if they wrote lowercase to begin with, but then towards the end, they added in some capitalized letters? Our current code doesn't address this. And so it still looks a bit weird. Now, this is completely optional. You can either pause the video now and see if you can fix this bug, or you can follow along with me and I'll show you how to do this. This is one of the reasons why testing your code is really important, because there's always these edge cases that you might not have thought about, but that might happen when you have thousands of users using your website. So now that we've achieved turning the first letter into uppercase, fixing this one small user experience issue is going to be a walk in the park, because all we need to do is just to add another small step in here. We can call this one D and this one E, and we can say change the rest of the name to lowercase. So we can take this variable we've already got, rest of name, is now equal to the previous version of rest of name dot to lowercase. And now this changes that variable to make all of those characters lowercase and uses it in the concatenation of the capitalized name. So now if we run our code and we put in what we had before, which is lowercase ANG, uppercase ELA, hit OK, and voila, we get our perfect capitalized name no matter what the user decided to enter. So I hope you had fun with me in this module, learning all about strings in JavaScript. In the next module, we're going to learn more about numbers, doing maths with JavaScript, and a lot more. So I'll see you on the next module.